I have an update to this story that I reported to you all about a couple of weeks ago when Hurricane Milton was barreling towards Florida. I was talking about how, in the evacuation process, a lot of people leave their pets behind. They literally will chain their dog up in their backyard and they will evacuate from a hurricane. Now, how does that make sense? How is your dog going to survive that? You're basically chaining them up to drown in your backyard. This is something we see a lot in these storms. People who have no business having pets in the first place, just leaving their pets behind, many times chained up to just drown in the floods. It's insane. But during Hurricane Milton, I saw something that I hadn't seen before. Now, I've seen plenty of people leave their pets behind. I've never seen someone take their dog and chain it to the rails on the side of a highway. But that's what happened during Hurricane Milton. A dog was found tied to the guardrails on the highway. And the dog was already leg deep in water. This dog was not going to survive at all. It had no chance. Even if it could have swum or ran to higher ground, it couldn't because it was tied to a freaking fence post or to the guardrail. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what do you expect is going to happen here? Do you think you're going to evacuate from this hurricane, come back a week later, and your dog's just going to be sitting here waiting for you on the side of the highway? What is the thought process behind this? It's absolutely evil. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense at all. No sense at all. And I've heard from people since then that evacuated the storm, that had nowhere to go. They were sleeping in their cars with their pets because they're actually good pet owners. And I would do the same. I'm not going to leave my dogs behind to die in a storm. I'm going to take them with me. And if you're not going to accept my dogs where I go, well, guess what? We'll find somewhere else to go. But anyways, after this story happened, there were conflicting reports coming out. There were some excuses that came out claiming that, this dog escaped. As this guy was evacuating down the road, he's driving down the street, his dog escaped. And it winded up getting caught on the guardrails, and this guy was looking frantically for his dog. That's the report that was out there for a couple of days. Well, guess what? That was a complete lie. All of that was bogus, but I do have good news. The man who decided to leave his dog behind, tied to the guardrails on the side of the highway, well, they tracked this guy down. They tracked him down. Freaking Ron DeSantis even talked about it during the press conference, and they arrested him. Let's go ahead and dive into the details right here. A man was arrested after Florida Highway Patrol officials found a dog tied to a pole one day before Hurricane Milton was expected to make landfall. Giovanni Garcia, age 23, is facing an aggravated animal cruelty charge after an arrest on Monday. Authorities say he left his dog tied up off Interstate 75 in Tampa as many residents were evacuating ahead of the hurricane. In video, you can see the dog stuck to the post with water above its legs. The dog was found alive last Wednesday in floodwaters up to his chest. A trooper who located the dog, based on a description from a witness driving by, described him in severe distress and trembling, according to the redacted criminal report. Traffic was heavy as many people were evacuating, the trooper said. Due to the circumstances and the extreme danger and the risk of death caused by the defendant to the dog, the defendant's actions caused excessive, unnecessary infliction of pain and suffering to the dog. Troopers brought him to a vet where he was examined for injuries and he received a clean bill of health. The dog, nicknamed Trooper by FHP. Garcia 2 days later went to the Hillsborough County Animal Shelter to try to retrieve the dog and showed pictures as proof of ownership according to the arrest documents. The owner agreed to give up the dog to the foster family provided they would take good care of the dog and love the dog, the report said. We take this crime very seriously and this defendant will face the consequences of his actions, said State Attorney Susie Lopez, whose jurisdiction covers the Tampa area. The incident got Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' attention as well.
Somebody decide as Hurricane Milton approached that it would somehow be a good thing to take his dog and chain it to a post on the interstate. Well, we had Florida Highway Patrol with us here today that saw that dog in distress. Dog was very rattled from that experience. Rescued the dog. The dog's now in Tallahassee. It will be adopted, renamed Trooper. But we said at the time, you don't just tie up a dog and have them out there for a storm. Totally unacceptable. And we're going to hold you accountable. Well, I'm proud to announce that the authorities have identified the dog's former owners, and State Attorney Susie Lopez is now pursuing animal cruelty charges against the individual. So we said you'd be held accountable, and you will be held accountable.
So basically, the guy tied his dog up to die on the side of the road. Hurricane Milton comes. It's not as bad as what was expected. So he comes back into Tampa. He's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now I want my dog back. So he goes to the animal shelter. He identifies his dog. He gives some weak excuse that they proved was a lie. And then he has the audacity to say, well, I want to make sure he's going to a good family. I'll agree to allow you to take the dog, but I want to make sure he's going to a good foster family. What? Anything has to be better than what he was going through with you. I gotta imagine this dog was not given the best life if your dumbass decided to tie him up on the side of the road, already halfway submerged in water. Like, what in the hell? And then you're going to say, I want to make sure he's going to a good family. You don't have the right to make sure of anything. Go sit your ass in jail for a little while and take these charges. How about that? I can't think of anything. I guess I could think of some things, but this is really just disgusting. There's not many things out there that are as disgusting as this. Because this is a death sentence. You left your dog to slowly drown on the side of the road in the middle of a hurricane when you could have put him in the car with you and drove away. That freaking simple. That simple. But unfortunately, we see a lot of stuff like this. And unfortunately, most people aren't held accountable when stuff like this happens. So I'm hoping going forward with the next hurricane and the next one and the next one, we start seeing stuff like this. It felt good to see Governor Ron DeSantis stand up there, mention this, and hold this guy accountable. Because I would like to see, in the future, I would like to see more stuff like this, more arrests like this being made. Because I can tell you firsthand, as someone who's rode out a lot of storms, experienced a lot of storms, man, oh man, so many people leave their pets behind. At one point, my neighbor, this was years ago, left his dog on his porch, on his front porch, folks. Left for the hurricane, just left his dog on the front porch. And the dog was on the front porch crying and whining for days. And we were trying to figure out, what is this noise? What is this noise? But it turned out to be the neighbor's dog. And he was so afraid he wouldn't leave from the front porch. So I had to take the neighbor's dog in. So, you know, I've experienced people doing disgusting things like this firsthand. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and as always, remember to remain opinionated.